think you know me.
There is more work in the land to the west of Prince.
Hello, hello, hello. Oh.
Hope everybody's doing good. Top of the morning to ya. Where is my chat? Fuck. It's not working. Chat. There it is. Alright. It's not. Okay, yeah. Hope everybody's doing good. Doing good, doing good. I'm gonna run through this really quick and double check it to make sure that it's upload time. Hello. React to what? I can look it up, but I can't play it because copyright. I can't play it on the stream. George, thank you very much for the follow. Thank you. How's it going? What's up, Dharma Dom? Thank you for the follow. Yes, I am the Sleepy Ninja. This is true. Hell yeah, dude. Only the best. How are you doing? What are you up to? Whoops. shipping it, man. It's done. It's done. I can confidently say that now. I'm glad I waited, I guess. Dog over here is losing his fucking mind. Poor thing. I'm gonna take a quick break.
There's been even more drama that's happened today, which I thought this shit was funny. I'm laying on the sofa. I'm laying on the sofa at 3 in the morning, and I'm seeing people messaging me like, oh, there's this thing that happened, like, oh, like Ludwig is reacted or spoke. No, did you see how Ludwig talked about it? He probably didn't do anything, right? Ludwig probably did. Like Ludwig did probably the thing that Ludwig does. He says, damn, that's crazy. Anyway, back to making money. Let me guess, that's what he did, right? I'm just gonna take a guess. Am I right? Yes. Okay. That's right. He's a smart guy. He's a very smart guy. I like Ludwig a lot. I think he's a great guy. And so, yeah, he's smart. He moguled out. Yeah, he's moguled out of his mind, guys. Yeah, and that's it. And I just think it's fine. He doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't want to get involved in it. He just wants to make money making content, and that's it. Not everybody has to have an opinion about every social event and every drama that happens on the internet. Not everybody has to do this. You don't need to have an opinion on everything, okay? I know people might want it, people might need it, but you don't. And if you don't care, and obviously, by the way, Ludwig cares. He has an opinion, okay? He does care. It's not like one of these people that actually doesn't care. You wouldn't have made a drama channel where you farm other people's dramas for 3 years. You remember that? And get a degree in journalism. Remember that? And so you would not have done all these things if you didn't care about this stuff. You'd be talking about it if you could, but you know it's bad for business, and you just don't do it. That's a smart idea. I don't think that's bad at all. I don't criticize that. I don't complain about that. I don't think it's an issue. But yes, there it is. He just doesn't want Hassan's fans to attack him? Yeah, but if he... The thing is that if he defends Hassan, then he'll have people that maybe are my fans that attack him, right? Or Tectone fans, or people that just think... Yeah, you lose by right side involved. Like, that's the reason, right? And I'll talk about the Pokimane thing. So basically, this has been like this one happened this morning, which is why I want to talk about it. So Pokimane and Lily Pichu canceled their podcast episode release featuring Hassan, and so I guess Pokimane and Lily Pichu had a podcast. And people, I did not know this, and I don't mean, I'm not trying to be diminutive or something like that. I just was not aware of this. But anyway, they had a podcast, and you know, they had Hassan on the podcast, right? And so, small update. Hey, Taste Buds. I'm assuming this is that podcast is called Sweet and Sour, and I'm assuming Taste Buds is a play on that. And it's like it's the name of their fans. I'm just, you know, this is what I learned in honors English class in high school. Okay. Is how to use, you know, these things and to figure out context clues, all right? And so anyway, this is a tough one to write. Yeah, think about this. This is a tough one to write, but we wanted to give you all a heads up that we're unfortunately going to be missing our first scheduled Saturday video tomorrow. We've been watching the recent drama unfold concerning our guest. And it's been getting intense. We had a serious talk as a crew, and we all agreed that it did not feel right uploading tomorrow's episode at this moment in time. Our community is our favorite thing, and the reason we do this is to create a space that is comfy, as always, and a true escape. We do not want to impact the cozy atmosphere that we've all built together. Thanks for always supporting our vision for a fun, positive place to hang out. See you all next week, Sweet and Sour Step. So basically, they didn't want to have Hassan on the show because of the dog thing, right? I mean, you know it, I know it, everybody knows it. But here's what I think is funny.
Okay. I'm gonna say one thing, I'm gonna say one thing only. Pokimane is fine, bro. And honestly, you know, I think, like, I don't, you know, discriminate on, like, you know, I have a lot of friends who are, more left-leaning. Like, as long as you're not, okay with violence, I'm cool. you know? Like, I like being able to discuss and debate and ideas, you know? And I think the mixture of left and right thoughts is where the solution is. Generally speaking, like somewhere in the middle. And so, yeah, I really think that left and right is best if you put them together, then you get something even better than left versus right, you know. Yeah, that's my 2 cents on Pokimane. I think she's very cute. I'm not gonna lie.
It gets better, okay? You think, okay, all right.
And I'm glad to hear that she stopped talking to him or whatever, or stopped doing this shit with him because he's a creep, man. Like, he just needs to stop being platformed completely. Fucking dog animal abuser.
That makes sense, right? It gets better. So Pokimane comes out and tweets and says the episode was supposed to air as usual, but staff refused to upload it out of fear it had caused drama, and posted this statement without my approval. Sad face.
Wow.
Sorry, guys. We'll talk about everything on this week's episode.
F, dude. I feel like, though, hear me out. I can fix her. No, I honestly feel like she just has, like, bad friends, dude. She's surrounded by bad people, honestly. Like, I've been there. Bad influences, dude. Those type of people, you know. No bueno.
And go on hiatus afterwards to restructure. Now, let me go ahead. You guys like translation? I'm gonna do a little bit of corporate Rosetta Stone, okay? I'm gonna give you. I am the corporate Rosetta Stone, okay? Where fuck? Give me a second. Okay, there it is. Okay, so what does this mean? All right, people don't know what does restructure mean. Okay? That's it. That's what it means. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. That's the way it goes. It's a firing. The firings will continue until morale improves. Look at the top comment. She got absolutely roasted. Well, I'll go back and I'll see if I can find it. And I'll see what she says about it. But anyway, so I think that I really feel bad for the staff. I do. I feel bad for the staff, and I'll explain why I feel bad for the staff, okay? Throwing your staff under the bus instead of disavowing animal abuse is definitely something I'd expect from you. People are not happy about this hiatus to restructure. Bro tased his dog repeatedly. Lamau, you don't need to go on a spiritual awakening journey. How can I make this about me? Imagine firing your staff because they don't like puppy torture. So everybody has an opinion on this. People are generally mad at her for saying this and doing this. I think that, see, this is Pokimane's mistake. She should have messaged me like Ray did, and I would have told her how to handle this. And it would...
Honestly, dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, she just needs, like, a good friend. I don't think she has one. I think people like Hassan are doing this thing. What's his fucking name? This, bro. You know, that's a song on the left. Honestly, you know, right? She should have.
Would have been fine. It would have been. This. See, and this is the problem because you could have done this in the right way. You really could have because really, she should have just asked me, and I'd have been able to deal with this. It'd have been no problem, right? But sometimes people don't want to do that, and right through the end, no. But like, if Ray's mistake, I'll get to
I
that.
agree with him though. Like, she should be like reaching out to. She needs to get out of her bubble, you know.
Yeah, but I'll say it right now. Ray's mistake is she should have messaged me twice. She should have asked me what she should do, and she also should have asked me should she say that she asked me. And I'd have told her nothing both times. That she should have asked me if she should have told people that she asked me. I would have said, don't tell people that. I was surprised she said it. Y'all know I never said that shit about her because I knew people would react that way. They get mad as fuck. And so, absolutely. So the only thing you could have thanked us, nah, the thing is, like, exactly. And so, yeah, she should just ask me about it. I was surprised. Somebody said there was a clip of her talking about me. I read it the first time in chat. I didn't say it out loud because I was like, there's no way she'd say that because then her audience would get mad. And then I opened up LSF and it's there and I said, oh, shit. Oh, boy. That poor girl. But anyway, I get to that. Give me a few minutes, right? But I get back around that. But that's true. Yeah, exactly. It is a bit of a self-report. You don't care about getting backstabbed? Not really. I don't really like. The thing is that I am the only virtuous person left in the world, and because of that, I have to uphold a certain level of honor and dignity.
It does feel like that, though, honestly. A lot. Like, trying to be a good person. Nowadays.
That transcends mortal desires and the most humble. No, I don't give a shit. If you want me to be honest, I didn't even watch the clip. I was busy. I was doing other stuff. I didn't even watch it. Yeah, like, I didn't even think about this shit. And so anyway, that's it. Why bother? Yeah, bro, like, it's me, right? I mean, it's always gonna be me. And that's it. And so I don't take anything personally, but I'll get around to that, okay? I'll get around to that and talk about that. But before I do, I'm gonna get to this. So Pokimane, this is what she should have done. She should, because this is an issue, right? And I think that, you know, it's a lack of empathy, I think, with her. And I'll explain the reason why I say that. The reason why I say that is because I think that she should understand that while she has a big fan base and a lot of people are fans of her and they're going to defend her, and she's got a lot of people that like her, a lot of her staff don't have that. And so what happens is that the staff are now getting attacked on social media. People are being hostile to them. Somebody sends in a mean message to the Patreon of this, of this thing. And
people need to start being held accountable for that shit. These platforms like YouTube and I don't know how, but there needs to be like maybe new laws against harassment, or like maybe default settings put in place to prevent I don't know what the answer is really, but I think the answer should be new laws that make it more like like maybe like reaching out to someone with like intent to like let's say you really don't like someone, right? And so you like find their phone number, or like you go out of your way to, like, you know, with ill intent, you that's such a difficult problem. You know, I don't really know how to go about it, but because you can't get rid of free speech, but like. I guess they do have it, because I was looking into it not so long ago. And so, the way it works, I guess it makes sense now that I'm thinking about it. Someone reaches out to you like that, and they're telling you, you know, fuck you, this, that, this, that. Although I think violent threats should be, like, automatically, like, they should be investigated, or, you know, looked into. Something should happen there when someone's being violent. In any threatening to be violent, in my opinion. But anyways, if you can block them, and if they reach out to you from a different number, then that's like harassment or something. Qualifies as something. Anyways, sorry.
You know, or to the YouTube channel, you want to know who's going to read that? It's going to be the staff that are going to read that. So if I was her and I saw that my staff had put out a statement like this, I will be honest, it would fucking annoy me. It would make me mad. It would piss me the fuck off, because they should have asked me before they said this, and they should have talked to me ahead of time. I'd be fucking mad. But what I would have done is I would have said, listen, I understand that a lot of you guys like Hassan, but there's a lot of people that don't like him right now, and I don't want to put my staff in a situation where they could be caught in the crossfire between, you know, my friendship with somebody else and internet drama.
She should have said that.
At that point would have, you know, it would have exonerated the staff. They would have not gotten attacked, because, again, you're trying to protect them from things having, you know, like something bad happening to them, right? Because I view, like, this is the way I see a lot of things, right? Is that, like, whenever you have people that are working for you, in a way, and I don't mean this in a degrading way, but like they're your flock in a way, right? Like you're the shepherd. You have to lead them in the right position. You have to take care of them. You have to help them, and you have to do your best to do what is in their best interest, and to help them, and to do what the right thing is for them. More sense, right? And so yeah, that's it. Anyway, that you know, all this stuff that happens and everything, you know, it is kind of it's kind of disappointing for me to see it happen for some of these people, but yeah. And it goes wrong. That's the way it is, right? I mean, there's a lot of things that have happened in history. I can't get them all right. But anyway, so that's generally what I think about this, right? And yeah, it's disappointing to see this happen. And I think also, I mean, if I read some of the comments on this, we're going to go back and look down on this. And let's see here. And basically, everybody is hating her, right? Like, everybody is mad.
Like twice if Hassan has a shot collar on you right now.
Staff getting fired for not supporting animal abuse, like literally.
Oh, she's firing people too? Damn, bro. I hope she's not firing people. She should take the L. Yeah, I agree, like, you know, the safety of your staff is priority.
I
even saw that picture with her and her son. I was like, oh god, she talks to that motherfucker. Nasty.
don't see a single person who's supporting her. And honestly, I mean, this is, again, like, I would feel bad for...
Yeah, that's bad. Right there. Says so you don't condemn how Hassan is treating his dog.
But you did
No, that's a bad look.
your staff under
You should totally fucking...
the bus. You did, and you could say they threw you under the bus or they didn't communicate with you, but you don't have the same position that they do. And see,
Oh my god, there's a Twitter space about it.
you have to be empathetic and see it from another person's point of view, and you know, then it really makes a little bit more sense, right? And so yeah, that's it.
I love it. I'm
What
so
drives
glad
you-
that people are talking shit about Hassan, honestly. I fucking hate that guy.
Be a helper of people that talk behind your back. The fact that I know that none of their words will ever truly affect me, and I know that I will be successful regardless of anybody else's approval or disapproval, and I just simply do things because I can, and I don't need to worry about the approval or opinions of other people. That's the reason why. So I help them because I can. Not all in this together. Her position as an individual is very different than other people's. And so that's really it. On job offer that, people are like, yeah, this happened earlier today. That's my opinion on it, and there it is. And so anyway, another one. So Valkyrie apologizes to her community for DMing Asmongold. My fault for not being aware enough. Probably so hurtful and jarring. I think everyone, including myself, should be more aware of what's going on in the world. I'm not aware enough. I hear you guys. So she went out and she said this about me, obviously. Like, she basically apologized for messaging me, right? That's pretty much what it was. And I think that, honestly, the biggest mistake that she made is that she didn't message me twice. I do. Because she should have messaged me and asked if she should have told the community that she messaged me. And if she had done that, I'd have told her no. I would have. I think this is an own goal for her. It definitely is. And so anyway, and the thing is that, listen, her community, everybody, see, like, I don't view streaming, like, I'm friendly with people in streaming, but I don't confuse myself and delude myself into thinking that a lot of people will not, obviously, I would never want and expect a person to, like, you know, put...
Anyways.
Breaking, additional footage has been discovered. This comes after older videos. This has got to be a meme, right?
A commemorative mug I got from England. Commemorative mug I got from England specifically for commemorative mug I got from England. Commemorative mug I got from England specifically for...
The implication is that Hassan looks over and he's looking off camera. He's like, what is this? He reaches over, relatively the same spot that he reached in before, and then something happens, something is pressed, and then the dog immediately responds, and then it repositions itself again. Check Eats Twitter, there's a new one? No.
Did you compare this to the Japanese airport experience? Yeah, the Japanese airport experience is like everything works, everything is fast. Kaya. Place.
Grabs the thing.
Back there. What is this?
In the same place.
I mean, that's 100% right.
Everything works, everything is fast. Kaya. Place. Get back there. What is this? Don't worry.
I mean, that's 100% right.
I wonder how a lot of, like, these, like, weird orbiters that keep defending Hassan no matter what, I wonder how they're gonna spend 3 clips. At this point, there's 3 of them.
I know. My haters are causing me to be more reactive to my dog. Fuck it. I'll just destroy all of the training that I've worked very, very hard on. Let my dog do whatever she wants and then run the show. Look, see? Spot training is already failing because I already let her fucking... I already let her
He just looks at her. She knows, bro.
I already let her do whatever she wants now. See? This is how it works, okay? She expands on the readily available confines.
Some guy in chat. It's so over.
Oh my god. There's even more videos. I was watching Minority.
I'm laying on the sofa at 3 in the morning and video tomorrow. We've been watching the recent drama unfold on the show. I really feel bad for like them. They're
Oh, that's just rewatch.
so yes, somehow it's happened again. Another plane has hit the tower.
I'm gonna put the wide shot. Boom.
Yes, again.
I got. No. I'm gonna put the wide shot.
Fucking.
Boom.
Yes, again.
I got.
This is the remote for the vibrating gate. I swear. Why does he move this one specific thing out of the frame? It's clearly the ET300 remote that he is literally holding up on his stream. He's hiding it in plain sight. Oh god. This is the one people thought it was. And it's in the exact same spot that it always is in those clips. Educator ET3000 Mini. Compare this to the back of the remotes. Okay. Oh man. Oh gee, Lion Ted, bro, what? So this is 100% unequivocally proven now. If I had to bet on it, I'd bet that this is what happened. Why doesn't he just say he uses it? He never admits that he's wrong, even about like anything really small. And I think that. I think that's really kind of it creates a false sense of security, and eventually, you know, you do that for long enough,
Yeah.
and you have a
And then you have a son.
fuck up like this, and that's it.
Yeah.
Left-wing members of the Israeli Knesset are dragged out from President Trump's speech. Shut up, bitch! Get out of here.
Please expel this Knesset member.
Get out of here.
Expel Knesset member Kasif out of the hall. Please expel him immediately.
Oh, get out of here, Baldy. Get out of here. Take your books with you. Fat. That's right. Ooh, the paper. I saw that, so this is what I thought was really funny. Canterbury Cathedral, one of the holiest places and most beautiful buildings in the country, has been graffitified. What's worse, the church approved it. They said that they worked with marginalized communities to do this. Horrific. Shame on you. And I said this is the religious equivalent to turning on rap music when a black person gets into your car. Patronizing and implicitly racist. So basically, they put a bunch of graffiti all over the church to try to resonate with, I guess, minorities. I don't know who does this. Why would they do this? This is insane.
Just for context, this decision was taken by the brand new Archbishop of Canterbury, which coincidentally is the first woman Archbishop. A max level Karen with a full endgame set. It's over.
Yeah, it's crazy it is. To be fair, their only stickers are going to be able to peel them off. It's not like they actually spray painted the church. It's just so weird
Well, who cares then?
that like, oh, here's how we're going to, you know, support marginalized communities.
Yeah, but it's not even, it's a fucking white chick that's doing it.
Well, we're going to show a bunch of fucking graffiti on everything. It's so patronizing and weird.
Yeah, agreed. It's like, why? don't know if that's the right message.
So there was a Korean streamer that was murdered after arguing with a VIP viewer who donated $70,000 to her. This is a scary story. A live streamer with over 300,000 followers was discovered on a mountainside. Her body showed signs of bruising and strangulation. Police believe that she was killed about 30 minutes after her final broadcast ended. The suspect was a longtime supporter, told Yoon that he was the CEO of an IT company, but reports later on revealed that he was deeply in debt. According to Chosen, Cho convinced
Damn, Rose. Squid Games.
Yoon to enter a business partnership with him after becoming a VIP level donator on her live stream. However, she recently tried to cut ties, reportedly exhausting by his controlling behavior and demanding schedule. Very, very, very sad. I said this too. I said a cautionary tale to any streamer. If someone randomly starts giving you a ton of money, stop and block them. I know it might sound insane, but think about the kinds of people who give 50K to a girl on the internet. Insane people. Be safe and be proactive. And this is one of the reasons, if you guys ever notice, like, you know, that's one of the reasons why I don't take donations. That's actually one of the big reasons. If you ask 5 streamers that are girls if they've had a guy that's done this, you will get 15 or 20 stories. This is a super, super common thing. My advice to any of these girls that are doing this, and this is not exclusive to women, by the way, my best advice, cut it off before it starts. As soon as the guy gives you more than like a few things.
It's fucked. I shouldn't have a gun.
Streamer Aswell Zach Rawr on Twitch doubles down after controversial using live ammo on protester statement further dehumanizes the left. Quote, I don't really view them as people, I view them as animals. Let's go ahead and let's see how this is clipped and how it's cut together, okay? You guys ready? I'm sorry the left is so toxic. No, it doesn't bother me. Like, there's plenty of people that use that kind of stuff against me. Like, I really, I don't...
Same shirt.
This is gonna sound really bad. I don't even really view them as people. I don't. Nope. I view them as like animals. So basically, the person posts this clip because they were saying I was dehumanizing people, and I was dehumanizing a person who was trying to weaponize the death of my father.
So let's add some context. People are pushing this like crazy to get Asmund deplatformed.
And sorry the left is so toxic. No, it doesn't bother me. Like, there's plenty of people that use that kind of stuff against me. I don't even really view them as people.
They completely cut out the previous part.
You know, if you go back and you watch the VOD, Dagger comes back even more toxic. Oh God, people are trying to use like my dad dying against me. Well, that's so weird.
And also, a few minutes before that too.
As we go, by the way, a living human being, his own mother living in filth decaying rats. Years later, she was suffering from respiratory illness. We're gonna make up stories about dogs. Might as well talk about real things done to real people. That is absolutely true because she chose to, and I wasn't able to get it fixed because she refused to leave the house. She wouldn't get a COVID vaccine, so I couldn't let anybody come into the house to help fix it. But that was her choice, it was her life, and she did it. Tweeting about me constantly, talking about my dead parents. No, it's very, very weird for somebody like this to bring it up.
And so now you understand why the chatter said...
I'm sorry the left is so toxic. No, it doesn't bother me. Like, there's plenty of people that use that kind of stuff against me. So I'm specifically talking about people that, you know, use the death of your parents to weaponize it against you, to try to, like, emotionally attack you. It's embarrassing. And you can have a clip like this that's cut intentionally to misrepresent what I said, and it's very sad for me to see. The troll that sits around his own feces is calling the left animal. Seems like this would violate Twitch's TOS. Fundamentally, what are they doing here? They're fundamentally defending a person who's trying to use my father's death as a way to delegitimize my opinion on the topic. It's sad to see it happen, but unfortunately, that's the world that we live in. What I find to be funny is that every single time that Hassan or one of the people that's in Hassan's orbit gets in trouble, the way that basically people in that community deal with it is that they instantly try to blame and bring up things that other people did in order to, like, somehow in one way or another try to distract or try to, you know, turn it into something else that it's not, right?
Yes. True.
You know, the best part about caving is that you actually don't have to do it. I'm Aiden Mattis, and welcome back to the Loreline. Pale skin, dark sunken eyes, elongated faces, sharp teeth, and the like. These images inspire horror and revulsion in many, and with good reason. The characteristics shared by these faces are imprinted in the human mind. The question you have to ask yourself is this: what happened deep in the hidden eras before history began that could affect the human race so evenly as to give the entire species a deep, instinctual, and lasting fear of pale beings with dark, sunken eyes, razor-sharp teeth, and elongated faces? If there is one piece of literature that has affected my interest in the paranormal, the preternatural, or the general unknown more than any other, it is the unabridged version of what I just read to you. It's not because Genetic Memory, as it's commonly known, is the best written or most descriptive horror story of all time. It doesn't make you think to check every shadow the way that many stories about ghosts, demons, or other supernatural evils do. It doesn't make you jump every time a stair creaks or something knocks inside of a wall. No, the reason this story has been so present in my mind for the last 15-odd years is because it asks a question that cuts to one of the core aspects of our humanity. This strange phenomenon of passing the psychological effects of our experiences from generation to generation through the most basic building block of what we are, that being our DNA. As the complete version of the story, which isn't all that much longer, notes, our fear of certain characteristics seems to be present from birth. If you show an infant an image of one of the crawlers from The Descent, chances are the child is not going to react positively. Even as we grow up and mature into adulthood, the discomfort with translucent flesh, pale-colored eyes, and mouths full of pointed teeth never really leaves us. And to many, this is known as the uncanny valley effect, but I think there's a simpler way of describing it. Primal fear. For some reason, we all come into this world with a hardwired aversion to a very specific set of features, no matter which part of the planet we're from, and no matter what cultural memories we carry with us. But why? The author of Genetic Memory posits, more sincerely than I think most creepypasta.
A group of teenagers set out for a weekend trip in the forest. They parked their van and were relaxing when movement in the woods caught their eyes.
It's like, yo, look holy shit, look at that, dude. Yo, look at that. Dude, what? Yo, what the? Yo! You see that? Is that it? Hello? Yo, you see that, dude? Look! Yo, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Go. Get the fuck out.
A dark, furry figure emerged, walking upright, then suddenly seemed to drop to all fours and began running. Panic erupted as the group fled, with one of them capturing shaky footage of the encounter. The creature looked disturbingly human, yet wild. Whatever it was, it's a day the teens never forget. A man was hiking in the Appalachian region when he suddenly heard this. A loud, scratchy hiss echoing through the forest. The sound lasted several seconds, heavy and unsettling, yet no source appeared in the footage. Some believe it was a large animal, perhaps a bear or mountain lion. Others think it could be tied to the countless mysterious stories surrounding the Appalachian wilderness. Chris had just returned home in Appalachia when something caught his attention. Through the window, a pair of glowing eyes stared straight at him, unblinking and fixed. He quickly snapped a photo, but the eyes disappeared moments later. Chris later shared it on Reddit, asking if anyone could explain what he had seen. Some suggest it was just an ordinary animal. but in the Appalachian region, certainty is never guaranteed. Deep in the forest, an explorer stumbled upon something strange. A jar tucked between the twisted roots of a massive tree. Across cultures, stories tell of dark beings trapped in containers to keep their power sealed. Open it, and you might unleash something dangerous. The find felt less like treasure and more like a warning. He was wise not to open it. One night, Instagram user That Girl Christina noticed something strange at her home.
So we just heard a loud crash.
She went outside to investigate and saw this.
That's a whole tree.
Someone threw a tree at our house?
It went through this basket, through this table, and down there.
Instead of falling across the roof like a tree normally would, the trunk stood skewered upright, piercing through the house and stretching into the night sky, as if hurled like a giant spear. The angle seemed impossible. How could this have just happened? In 2015,
I would like to see the area during the day.
teenager in Turner, Maine, was walking their dog when they filmed this short video. It showed a large, upright creature moving slowly. Researcher Bill Brock later examined the site and found footprints about 15 inches long, far bigger than a human's. While skeptics suggested it was a costume or camera trick, no proof of a hoax ever surfaced. The clip remains one of Maine's most debated Bigfoot sightings, keeping the legend alive years later. One night, a man noticed a strange pair of glowing eyes moving around his property. He grabbed his gun and stepped outside, hoping to confront whatever it was.
Alright, whatever you are, you need to leave. Stay out of this place. This is our home.
Shoot it.
This is our home. You need to leave.
The moment he fired, the creature bolted into the darkness. What made the encounter chilling was the height of the eyes, nearly 7 feet off the ground. The man didn't think it was human, or even an animal.
I would have just shot it. Right in the
A
fucking
man
eyes.
went to check on his cabins in the woods when he stumbled upon a very strange
I
scene.
don't want it coming back.
A group of women stood in the open, each wearing headsets, moving in a trance-like state as if caught in some ritual or mind control. Their movements were slow, almost meditative, until they froze, locked in unnatural positions. Some lay face down on the gravel, others stood stiffly facing trees, and a few twisted oddly on the ground, feet bent at impossible angles. Even if it was just a unique form of meditation, it looked extremely eerie. A woman once took a selfie while hiking the Appalachian Trail, but when she shared it online, people noticed something odd. In the background stood a strange figure. It seemed to have antlers, yet its body looked oddly humanoid, too human to be an ordinary animal. Some believe it shows a Wendigo or the legendary Deer Man said to haunt forest trails. Skeptics argue it's just pareidolia, and the woman hasn't offered any explanation.
Don't look like anything.
Since she appears to be posing happily with it though, it's most likely just a regular animal. The TikToker shared a disturbing experience while camping in her tent. Take a look.
I am so exhausted because I had the weirdest experience of my life last night. While sleeping in my tent, I woke up at 3:44 to some extremely loud music playing in the middle of the forest, like new age, XXYYZZ, I don't know how to say it, spiritual alien type stuff. And it was so loud. It was like a religious stadium had music playing at 3:44 in the morning or something. I don't know how to explain it. It went on for hours. And it freaked me the F out. I seriously was like,
Why didn't you record it then?
did I die? Like, what's going on? Go too far. I'm like really scared.
It sounded almost ritualistic, blasting as if from a massive gathering hidden deep
She could just be playing something though. I mean, honestly.
in the woods. For her, it became one of the strangest and most unsettling nights she had ever faced. What would you do in such a situation?
I would have
A home
recorded
surveillance
everything.
camera captured a chilling sight one dark night in the Appalachians. In the footage, a shadowy humanoid figure appeared, its eyes glowing in the dark. Moments later, it vanished. The glowing eyes and sudden disappearance left the family with unsettling questions. Who or what had they captured on their security camera? Could it be connected to the Bigfoot legends of these mountains? In the autumn of
That looks
2020,
nasty.
Lauren began noticing strange things around her home. Things she couldn't explain.
So I have a bunch of trees in my backyard, but there's this one that doesn't look like the other trees. So I'm gonna go check that one out because it has pretty red leaves or flowers next to it, and it's interesting. Here's the tree. It's dead, but it's very pretty. And there's these weird things that are in it. I don't know what that's for. And it has crazy holes that I like. But here's the pretty red things. Flowers. No, they're leaves. Those are leaves. Oh. I like you.
That's a nice school.
What is that?
Then, for nearly a year, nothing happened. Until 2021, when something unsettling appeared.
So I'm walking around the fence line of my property, and I've noticed that someone or something has put something on pretty much all of my fence posts. I don't know if someone's like fucking with me or that this is something else, but like it's literally all like bones or like a creepy doll. I don't know what that was.
The fence surrounding her house was lined with odd objects, arranged in a pattern. Whether it was the work of a person or something else remained unclear. Days later, more activity began. When she checked, no one was there. But as she went back inside, something happened. And it didn't stop there.
Luna, come on.
Later that day, her security camera captured her hair being yanked suddenly upward. A few nights later, while speaking with her boyfriend, more strange events unfolded.
Dude, my fucking door just closed. Yes. And it's locked. I just got locked out of my house. Yes, nobody's here. Luna! Luna's inside by herself. I don't even see her in there. Look. Hang on.
Lady? Hello? She's not.
Then silence, nothing for 2 months, until one night someone began knocking on her window.
Jesus, dude.
Sit.
Terrified, she checked her backyard, but no one was there. Whatever was behind these events remains a mystery. After that night, Lauren stopped posting. This is the Fugate family. This Appalachian family became known for their unusual blue-tinged skin. The condition was caused by a rare blood disorder, methemoglobinemia, passed through generations due to isolation from India. It began with Martin Fugate and Elizabeth Smith in the 1820s, whose children carried the recessive gene. Many descendants inherited it, and though their appearance was striking, most lived normal, healthy lives. One descendant, Luna Stacy, lived to 77 and had 13 children. The last Blue Fugate was born in 1975, marking the end of this rare genetic line.
Wow, trippy.
Groovy Gavin, a YouTuber who explores haunted and abandoned places, filmed a trip to the Appalachian Mountains. His goal was to investigate stories of disappearances, ghosts, and feral people. At Elkmont Ghost Town, things turned unsettling.
Oh! What is that? Bird, dude. I actually kind of feel bad for the bird now. He was sleeping.
It's a vampire.
There's the bathroom. You think I could take a shit in there? Probably. Hello? My light's freaking out. My light's going on and off. Go. My light's freaking out, bro. Look at it, it's flickering. Oh, hello? Dude, I'm fucking shaking. Hello? Bro, I gotta figure it out now. Yo! Pete, stop. Dude, I hear something. There's someone 100% in there. There's someone in there. I think so.
Lights flickered, knocks echoed, and footsteps were heard, though no one was there. They decided to explore one more building, and that's when they saw this.
You could help me out and or just step on that stair right there. Are there feral people out here? Could you just step in front of that, please? Okay, are there skinwalkers or some sort of...
A face appeared in a window where no one stood. Moments later, Gavin's ghost hunting device went off, just as his friend's phone light switched on and off by itself. They left feeling unsettled, and even more so after watching the footage. While camping in the Appalachian Mountains, someone woke up to this sight. For a moment they were terrified, until they realized the spider was on the outside of the tent.
Yeah.
Still, a chilling way to start the day.
That's badass. As long as it's
After
on the
being away
outside.
for a couple of months, an Appalachian homeowner returned to find this. Tiny handprints. They hadn't been there before, and no one had entered the house while it was empty. Some say it could be raccoons or squirrels slipping in through small gaps.
Definitely
while
raccoons.
others think it might be something stranger.
You can see their little nails. Yeah, I'd definitely go with raccoons.
Dolls, or even spirits leaving their mark. Whatever it was, the house wasn't empty. Something had been inside. Hikers in Appalachia whisper about strange staircases standing alone in the woods, clean, untouched, and completely out of place. A TikToker shared this story.
This comment right here, and I started doing a little more research, and what I found is astounding. There have been so many reported sightings of these abandoned staircases in the Appalachia woods, and it's a known rule that you do not go up these stairs. The story I'm about to tell you is chilling. This man had been hiking the Appalachia Trail for a few weeks when he came across this abandoned staircase in the woods. He said it was super out of place and that the stairs actually were like very clean, even though there was like a lot of leaves and stuff that had fallen. The staircase was like immaculate. Intrigue got the best of him, so he decided he would go up and just check it out and see where it led to. But he said as soon as he got to the top, everything just got eerily quiet. He looked around for a little bit at the top of the stairs. It was nothing too interesting, so then he just turned around and went back.
But then, things got strange.
But when he got to the bottom of the stairs, the trail was gone. He wandered around toward dudes that were like freaked out at this point.
want
He was
video,
like,
dude. Shut up.
go a little ways and finds a place where he feels safe to camp out.
I don't believe it.
Tent.
Those stairs.
This is like the only thing I've ever seen. This picture.
Near mile 1,241 and a half of the Appalachian Trail in Pennsylvania, a hiker spotted a folded paper wrapped in saran wrap, clipped with wire, and placed in a tree at eye level. About a mile later, another identical package appeared in the same set. Inside was a page filled with references to secret societies, symbols, and conspiracy themes. A jumble of
Yeah, this is some rabbit hole shit.
cryptic words and connections. Its true purpose remains unclear. A man and his dog woke up in their tent one morning to a nasty surprise.
Yes.
The tent was surrounded by a dense swarm of mosquitoes, nothing short of a nightmare. The only way out was straight through them, and the second you unzip, they'd be all over you, and the dog.
Just cut the tent
For anyone
open.
trapped inside, escape would
Other
feel
way.
almost impossible. I'm sure he made it out safely, but how remains unknown. One winter night, a man took his dogs for a walk after a heavy snowstorm, but the quiet was suddenly broken.
I guess a sample.
Unsure if wolves were nearby, he recorded the noises and later shared them online. Viewers offered chilling theories. Some said hellhounds, others said La Llorona, and some even suggested a Wendigo. Whatever it was, it sounded enormous.
Bullshit. It's just, he just added that sound.
YouTuber Black Mass Paranormal set out on a solo trek in the Appalachian Mountains. Along the way, he noticed signs that he might not be alone.
That's the size of a little kid's shoe. That is a pretty small footprint, but it does look to be kind of barefoot. You have a toe here, and a big toe here. And that is heading up in this direction. I just got that feeling of not being alone.
In such rugged terrain, the print he found seemed out of place, raising questions about who or what could have left it.
Yeah.
As he climbed higher, another danger appeared.
Now we gotta get across this ledge here. See what I mean? This isn't the most... Oh shit! Holy shit! That's a rattlesnake. God damn. Whoa. Hi. Gotta be careful here. Alright, buddy. So, see, what's important is you stay calm.
A rattlesnake blocking his path. He quickly backed away and escaped unharmed. But the mystery remains. Was it the trace of a lost hiker, a feral wanderer, or something tied to the Bigfoot legends long connected to these mountains? A Reddit user was walking a trail with her dogs when she spotted something huge. She snapped a quick photo and quickly left. It wasn't Bigfoot, it was a moose, just 10 feet off the hiking trail. Foliage blocked part of the view, leaving only a blurry picture. The encounter showed how hard it is to capture wildlife up close, even when the animal is large and nearby. The user noted this might explain why so many alleged Bigfoot photos also appear unclear and unconvincing. On a foggy morning along the Appalachian Trail, a hiker reached Cove Mountain Shelter, a simple wooden hut with a grim history. Years earlier, a terrible thing happened here.
So as I said, this happened back in 1990. I think I got the date wrong. I just checked my notes. It was September 13th, not July 13th. I did bring some notes along. I thought I'd double check. Like I said, it wasn't in this shelter, but the other one that is no longer here. But they were, as hiking, and the drifter came along. Like I said, it was in the early morning hours, so they were asleep. They were fast asleep when he came up on them. And of course, you have to understand too that he had plenty of time to plan out what he was going to do. He came up on them. I think he saw that it was man and a woman, and he had time to think about what he wanted to do. I think he had, he had plans for the woman, so he had to get rid of the guy. So, but they were completely unsuspecting of what was going to happen, and that's absolutely nothing against them. You're sleeping. It just doesn't matter what you have or how prepared you are. If you're sleeping, someone like that comes along, what can you do? But he shot the guy in the back of the head. He had a pistol that dispatched the guy, and then, of course, I'm not going to go into detail, but he tied the woman up and did things to her, and then killed her afterwards as well. And I forget, it didn't take too long for people to find the bodies, because people use these shelters all the time for the Appalachian Trail.
The old shelter was abandoned, left to decay until it was torn down. A new one was built nearby, but hikers still report whispers, footsteps, and the feeling of being watched. The hikers spent the night to test the stories, but nothing much happened, other than some unexplained sounds. In 2008, a man inherited land from his late grandfather. While exploring it, he discovered old trail cameras and checked their SD cards. Most images were of deer and small animals, but one frame stopped him cold. The photo showed a tall, dark figure with unusually long limbs, caught mid-step as if striding on two legs. It didn't quite match a bear or a man. Some insist it was a bear, others believe it was faked. A Reddit user was hiking in Albemarle County when he spotted something terrifying.
Damn. Holy fuck. Badass. Oh, he's trying to get a chicken for dinner.
At first, he thought it was an Appalachian cobra, known for its deadly bite. But a commenter later identified it as an eastern hognose snake, completely harmless. This species is famous for its dramatic bluffing, flattening its neck, hissing, or even playing dead to scare off threats. Not nearly as scary as it first seemed.
That's a cool snake.
While exploring an old college in Appalachia built in the late 1800s, a hiker came across something unusual in the basement. A sheet covered in strange symbols. It showed astrological signs, hexagrams, and planetary glyphs, arranged with purpose, not just random scribbles. Some think it ties to alchemy, Kabbalah, or Hermetic traditions, while others believe it's a mix of real occult symbols and personal inventions. Who made it, and why it was left there, remains a mystery. A woman was hiking the Appalachian Trail when she stopped to take a break and eat, but it didn't go well.
No. Do not get my food. Get out of here. Go. Get.
He's boiling water.
It's a bear.
Yeah,
I'm serious. Dude, go. I can't even eat my food. You got plenty of food out here. Go. Get. Go. He's coming over. I'm gonna hang my food up because I'm not eating tonight. Thank you. Get out of here.
She suddenly came face to face with a black bear, drawn to her food. Imagine the fear of standing just feet away from a predator, alone, and still having to stay calm. A family living in the Appalachian woods noticed holes in their backyard fence. When they checked their security camera to see what caused it, they saw this. It wasn't an animal. It was something they couldn't understand. Terrified yet curious, they posted it online. But who would do this in such a remote place? In a Virginia field, massive statues of US presidents sit abandoned. Once displayed in a museum, the 20-foot faces now crumble in silence. Weather, rust, and mold carve into them, yet each figure remains recognizable. Hidden on private land, they stand as relics of history, left to decay. One man still hopes to restore them, but till then, they just stand there.
Okay.
And for more Goosebumps,
Great.
watch this next video. This photo was taken deep in the Appalachian
They're at least rapid fire, so you go through them quick.
Mountains. A solo hiker with
The quality isn't always there, but at least it's going fast.
was making his way up a rocky trail when the mist began to roll in. He paused to snap a photo of the fog-covered ridge ahead. But later, while reviewing it, he noticed something chilling. A figure, barely visible, standing on the rocks in the distance. The hiker swears no one was there at the time. The area was completely still. So who or what was standing in the mist that day?
Cool.
Was someone following him, or did he capture a shadow figure? The hiker and his family were driving through a wide open stretch of the Appalachian Meadows. Somewhere out in the middle of that empty field, they came across a woman. Out of nowhere, she snapped.
I have kids in the car. You better go. I have kids in the car. You better go.
What?
Who is that? Who is that?
They're calling me a damn fucking kid!
Girl, I got you on video. You better get back.
Jess after you.
Jeff's right there. He ain't doing shit.
You're the one to say something about my damn son! And I got all that recorded.
No one really knows what triggered her or what was happening.
Methods.
Thankfully, she calmed down after a while, and the hiker drove off. While walking his dog in the Appalachian woods near his home, a Reddit user stumbled upon something disturbing. Curious, he brought it home, but quickly got rid of it as it smelled terrible and he didn't want his dog getting near it. Probably for the best, because bringing something like that home doesn't seem like a good idea. It looked downright evil. Was it witchcraft or something else entirely? A woman named Morgan lives deep in the remote stretches of the Appalachian Mountains. She regularly shares her paranormal encounters online, but one chilling experience keeps happening again and again. Morgan has captured the same strange figure on camera multiple times. It looks like her husband, same height, same build, but it never turns around. It just stands there, facing away. But that's not the only terrifying thing she's recorded.
At my family's haunted farm. I was gonna come explore with my husband today, but he couldn't get off from work because he's boring, so thought I'd bring you guys.
Hey! Hey!
On more than one occasion, her audio equipment has picked up the unsettling sound of the Appalachian hay, a mysterious phenomenon where something from deep in the woods calls out, mimicking human voices. Locals believe the mountains are full of mimics, entities that take the form and voice of those who trust. Lizzie, a fan of remote hikes, had seen countless horror stories tied to the Appalachian Mountains. Curious, she and her friend Alexandria booked a quiet cabin near the woods.
Of course they
That
did.
night, around 2 a.m., they were jolted awake.
Mike,
Someone outside yelled "Ayuda," Spanish for help. Then moments later, gunshots. They froze, remembered the warnings, and stayed silent. Should they have called for help, or did they do the right thing by following the unspoken rules of the Appalachian Trail? A Reddit user once shared what looked like a normal forest photo. Just dry leaves and twigs, nothing out of the ordinary. But look closer. Hidden in plain sight was a copperhead snake, perfectly camouflaged with its surroundings. One wrong step, and that peaceful hike could have ended very differently. Brand, a solo YouTuber hiking the Appalachian Trail, set off early after a peaceful night's sleep. The hike was tough, but the views were worth it. Later that day, he scouted out a stealth campsite deep in the woods. But just as he decided to move on, something happened.
Hey, talk about creepy. I was just down at that cell site there checking it out, talking about it, and I heard and saw a hiker coming down the trail. And I thought I'd stay at the campsite and wait for the hiker to pass. And the hiker never passed, and there's nobody here, and it's freaking me out right now. I've got chills up and down my spine. And I saw a person with a pack on, wearing hiking clothes. There's no way they passed me. Yeah, this is weird. I'm getting out of this spot. I'm telling you, that's you know, if the animal den wasn't enough, you know, this is the spot where I thought I saw somebody. You know, honestly, that's the second time today that that's happened. And the first time was when I was sawing that log. And I looked over and I was like, oh, someone's coming up the trail. The log will be sawed for them when they get here. And there's never anybody there. And I think I might have just saw a leaf. I don't know.
Chilled by the encounter, whatever.
That's the second time today that that's happened. And the first time was when I was sawing that log. And I looked over and I was like, oh, someone's coming up the trail. The log will be sawed for them when they get here. And there's never anybody there. And I think I might have just saw a leaf. I don't know.
Chilled by the encounter, whatever it was, Brand didn't stick around. Around 2:45 in the morning, a TikToker captured this video in the Appalachian foothills. When they later brightened the footage, they saw something frightening. Nothing should have been moving there. Not at that hour, not in that kind of place. But in the footage, something shadowy crosses the trail. And according to the person filming, they didn't hear or see anyone around. To this day, they remain confused by what they captured. Adam was hiking with his father, but at this specific moment, he was alone. That's when it happened.
Passed someone on the trail, like a guy. He looked like he was like from the 80s. He was wearing a full suit that like looked like he was from the 80s, and I was like, ew, I don't like that. I got a weird vibe from him. And look at what I just found. Is this not like terrifying? Should I open it?
The man didn't say a word, just calmly placed a briefcase on the ground and walked off. Curious and creeped out, the hiker opened it. Inside was only an old map dated 1989. That was all. But the suited man was still nearby. Could it have been a time traveler from the 80s? One night, a man was jolted awake by faint screeching sounds coming from outside. Curious and a little unsettled, he grabbed his camera and stepped toward the backyard window. As he recorded, something appeared. A figure, just briefly, visible in the darkness. When he tapped on the glass to get a better look, the creature disappeared into the night. Unfortunately, its features were too unclear to identify, but whatever it was, it definitely wasn't human. In 2017, a hiker known as Mostly Harmless began walking the Appalachian Trail from New York to Florida. He carried no ID, no phone, just a notebook full of handwritten code. Along the way, he introduced himself as Denon, or Mostly Harmless. He traveled alone, but people who met him described him as friendly, quiet, and strangely off the grid. Trail angels offered him food, water, even showers. He accepted with quiet gratitude. Then, in July 2018, 2 hikers discovered a tent deep in the Florida wilderness. Inside was a man's body, curled up in his sleeping bag. No signs of violence or struggle. His food had run out, and at just 83 pounds, his body showed signs of starvation. But since he carried no ID or phone, there was no way to trace him. For over 2 years, no one knew who he was. Despite clear photos, fingerprints, and hundreds of tips, he remained a mystery. It wasn't until 2021 that DNA testing finally revealed his identity: Vance Rodriguez, a tech worker from New York with a troubled past. Why he vanished into the woods is still unknown, but for many, he will always be remembered as Mostly Harmless. A woman had been living in her house in Appalachia for a year when she decided to switch things up. She moved 2 big bookshelves, and behind them was a door she'd never seen before. It was taped shut, clearly hidden on purpose. She invited a friend over and opened it. Behind the door was a staircase leading to a large attic. She had no idea it even existed. Now people online are freaking out. Some say it was sealed to trap something dark. And with it being in Appalachia, it's hard not to think of something creepy. A hiker caught something strange on camera, something he couldn't quite make sense of. A red glowing ball with no sound and no clear source. Just this fiery thing floating up through the forest. Some say it's a spirit, straight out of tribal legends. Others think it might have been a flare, or maybe a drone.
The world may never know. I'm too fucking tired. I was looking at a game. I need to stop watching these compilations like this. They put me to sleep, bro. So fast. I'm fucking tired. But today's Monday. I'll probably be on tomorrow, y'all. So keep it locked, fam. Much love. Have a good night. And I will see you later. Peace.